what's the assignment? Because that's what was going through my head at the end of 2024. If somebody was like, Kelly, what's the assignment? What is the assignment?
I think the assignment is keep your head down, stay focused. There are going to be so many distractions that are coming left and right. And at the end of the day, we have to do what is necessary to advance the cause, right? I mean, what does that look like for you? What does it look like to advance the cause through this period in history?
You know, in another space that I'm in, we wrapped up what we annually do with Black Policy Lab. And the theme was the reset, because it was a feeling of reminders, B, an invitation to reimagine, but also, the only difference between, rest and reset is one letter, right? So also really having moments of pause to process. And for people like us that are almost always clear as to what the assignment is when it comes to contracts, when it comes to our roles in our family, when it comes to I do certain things really well, we often go into rote memory. Every new year, we like to think we're creating a new vision board, but many of us are doing the same thing. And it was like, no, how do we look at community differently? So I think part of the assignment is not being delusional about what is happening, but also resetting and maybe even for some reprioritizing what is in front of you that you can control. And what does that look like? So similar to like keep your head down and like focus on the focus, but also like if that wasn't the priority before, it should be the priority now. So what does it look like to care for each other better? What does it look like to check in on your strong friends and the ones that are struggling? What does it look like to, for me personally, I actually am getting more into being a little bit more strict about my calendar so that I can find the pockets of rest. And then how do I announce that to people so I can set better boundaries and expectations? It's because I feel like we're going to get back into the unexpected things are going to pop up. I feel like the thing I can control is like my calendar, my schedule.
Can you say a little bit more about the distinction between what rest and reset and how it's just one letter? What's that look like for you?
I haven't come up with anything clever. I mean, I could make up a word for the E, because I think that's the vowel that's in between the two. I don't really come up with the two, but I do, as we're thinking about dreaming and visioning, one of the things that I think about, that I thought about for the longest, is how wild it is the term dream is so weird as a Black person. There's this concept of the American dream. And it's like, A, it's a fantasy. B, you're supposed to wake up from a dream. So what happens when you wake up, right? And then there's this other part around dreaming that is a point of privilege because it assumes you can sleep. It assumes that you have rest. It assumes that you have time to rest. And in many ways, I do think that the space in between your right now and where you're trying to get to does have a lot to do with that space of dream and vision and rest. And because I believe that things get deposited when you dream, I also don't think it's a coincidence that many of us statistically don't get enough time to rest. So what that means is that it doesn't mean we're not productive, but it does mean that we may not be some of the versions of ourselves that we're supposed to be because we never got the rest to really get deposited into. So I do think that if there was a leap between rest and reset at this moment, it feels like, how do you create more intentional points of rest so that the resetting can reveal more of like what your assignment either is at this time or the things that you have really never been able to do because you just didn't get rest because you just was busy in too many things.